What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be going through my round 13 AFL tips and predictions. We've officially hit the midway mark of the AFL season. It's honestly gone by very quickly. In this video later on, I'll be going through the winner for the prize of the competition, the tipping comp after round 12, the midway mark. So I'll reveal what the prize is a little bit later on, so tune in to see if you're in with a chance possibly. But we've reviewed round 12 tips as we always do to kick things off, and we got a score of 5 of 7 on ESPN tipping, but realistically we got a 6 or 7. I stupidly forgot to tip for the first game on the Friday night, and I'm pissed off about it because I've done it before. You would have seen me tip Melbourne in my video, but unfortunately it's not going to be a submitted tip. So yeah, it was a terrible game of footy though. If I want to quickly go over it, was just shocking. The next game, Port Adelaide v Hawthorn. I got the power in a very strange game of footy, I tell you what. Didn't get to watch that game, nor the Collingwood game, but it was 2 successful tips. I then got my first game wrong where I tipped the Dogs. I think most people went the Dogs, just thought they'd win it in the midfield battle, which they probably did, but the Cats were just a lot more efficient, and they converted and got the good win, honestly. That last quarter was superb by them. I then got a good tip though, correct, tipping the Suns in a really obscure game of footy, I'm not going to lie. I think Adelaide were up by as much as 35. And speaking of most people going against the side I tipped, I actually went Richmond, where most people I think won the Giants. And I got 2 really good wins in a row in an awesome game of footy. And then another really good game of footy where I just scraped over the line tipping the Bombers. But I definitely could have seen North Melbourne win this game. That was a lucky tip to get correct. So a good round of tipping for mine. I'm a little bit annoyed I forgot to tip the first round, but we'll make sure that doesn't happen for round 13. We'll review my big calls for the weekend, and I did only need the 2 because of the bye rounds. The first game at Carlton v Melbourne, I said that the Blues would score 5 or more behinds than goals. And although they were relatively inaccurate, they didn't get the 5. They only recorded 2 more behinds than goals. We moved to the next game, Port Adelaide v Hawthorn. I said that Jeremy Finlayson would score 5 or more goals, and it was a really good prediction. I got it correct halfway through the second quarter. It was such an incredible start to the game for the Power, just the way that game played out. Finlayson had a standout first quarter, kicking 4, and I think it was because he was on Josh Weddle. The next one, I said that the Pies would record 65 or more inside 50 against the Eagles. Didn't happen. They recorded 56. In the Suns v Adelaide game, I got a really good one correct, actually. I said that the Suns would come back from 20 or more points and win, and that happened. Like, that is a very good one to get correct, because not many went the Suns, let alone for them to come back by 20. And then for Geelong v Bulldogs, I said that there'd be 55 or less points combined in any half. High scoring first half. The second half wasn't so much, but 64 was scored at the end of the day in that second. I just realised that I do avoid the punishment, actually, because I did get the 2 correct. But then I went on to get the next one correct, so even if you guys think that I should have gotten 3, it doesn't matter. I got the 3. I said Taranto will record 35 or more touches. He had another possibly 3-vote game, 36 and a goal. Getting that one correct. I was a chance to get a 50% or more correct ratio of my big calls. I said in Essendon v North that North would win any half of footy. They lost it by 6, but they still didn't manage to win a half of footy. The Bombers won the first half by 2, and then they won the second half by 4. So I was really close, to be honest with you. But it doesn't matter. I got 3 out of 7. But anyways, we get right into things for round 13. This is one of the more exciting rounds of the fixture for sure so far. We kickstart things with a very intriguing contest. The Swans take on the Saints at the SCG. Thursday night footy is back. And I can't remember the last time the Saints played a Thursday night game. Actually, it was a game where I was drunk on my birthday, where I didn't get to go. The 2 sides had the bye on the weekend and are desperately needing wins. The Swans currently sitting outside the 8. I think just 1 win outside the 8, but definitely a very important win to get. And St Kilda, arguably more important win this is for them. They haven't been so good as of late, and certainly this is a game that if they can win, can almost, make up for the loss against Hawthorn. And it's a win, a game really for St Kilda, where I never really penciled this one as a win. So it'd certainly be a bonus, despite Sydney's poor form as of late. I still think this is going to be a tough one for St Kilda. The Swans, we all know that they haven't been at their best so far this season, but I can see them turning things around. They got the win against Carlton in round 11 at the SCG. I know Carlton are in terrible form, so it doesn't really tell me too much that game. St Kilda, on the other hand, well, I'm just very disappointed. The way we played against Hawthorn, nothing really went our way. It was just a game where I felt like we almost walked into it expecting a win. We just didn't seem to give much of a crap. I was really, really disappointed. We should have lost that game against the Hawks by 30 plus. I'm not very optimistic leading into this one, to be honest. The Saints have a terrible record against the Swans at the SCG. We haven't beaten them there since 2009. We all know what happened last year. Similar circumstances. We're heading into that one. you know, off the back of some poor form. With Sydney also not in great form. I think this could honestly play the Swans back into form. Buddy's 350th as well. Seems to always be against us, the Buddy milestone games, and he plays well in them as well. And get a really important win to revive our season and give us a possible, you know, chance of a top 4 spot even. But I don't know. I really think I'm gonna go the Swans here. I'm gonna tip the Swans because I genuinely think they're gonna win. And I don't want to just, you know, tell everyone that I'm confident that the Saints are going to get up. I'm going to go the Swans to win this one by 14. I really hope I'm wrong, though. My big call, the Swans kick 6 or more goals in any quarter. I think this is actually going to be a pretty good game of footy. The Saints should play better than they did last year against the Swans. Next up on the Friday night at Marvel Stadium, we've got the Dogs take on Port Adelaide, and this is a really, really good game of footy. Could be game of the round. We've actually started with 2 pretty good games. The Dogs, off the back of 2 losses in a row, puts a bit of doubt now into this season, and they could certainly lose this game, which would certainly slide the Dogs back down the ladder and could see them finish outside the 8 at the end of the round, when a lot of people thought they were a certain lock for finals a couple of weeks ago. They should have beaten the Cats, to be honest with you. They had more of the stats. They should have taken more of their chance in the first 3 quarters, but the Cats managed to just hold out the Dogs in a really tough, grinding affair by 22 points. And Port Adelaide, it was a game of 2 halves for them. It was kind of a strange one. They played probably one of the most impressive halves of footy from any side in the first. Everything went their way. They managed to record 100 points for the first time, I think since 2019, and the highest first half, since 2012. It was just incredible. I thought they could have possibly scored the double ton, but then the second half, it certainly wasn't the case. The Hawks outscored them by quite a bit, actually. They, managed to end up almost scoring 100. The Power sort of, had an average second half, but it was all won in the first half, so I think there's not much of a worry, really, for Port Adelaide. They're a really strong side at Marvel. I don't know what the stat is. I think they've won 6 or 7 of the last games at Marvel, so they go pretty well at Marvel. I think they can match up well against the Dogs. They beat the Dogs early this season. I think the Dogs at the moment slightly in a way out of form. It'll be a close game, and I think Port Adelaide just continue their winning ways and could drop this game, but I think they're going to hold on and win it in a very good game of footy. I'm going the Power to win it by 11 points. Big call, the Power kick the first 3 goals of the game. Next up, the Saturday games. We've got 3 of them. The first, 1:45 p.m. between Hawthorn and the Lions at the MCG. You know, I don't think too many people are going to be looking at this fixture going, oh, geez, I'm going to be heading down to the MCG to watch this belter. Probably won't be that sort of game, but I think this could be a hitting gem of a game. You never know. Hawthorn, weird game last round for the Hawks, to be honest. A terrible first half defensively, but the second half that gives them actually a lot of hope and promise leading into the coming rounds. It was actually really impressive the way they kept on fighting. They didn't want to just give up and just allow a 100-point loss to happen, because it looked like they could have lost that by 130, 140 even if it continued. The Lions had the bye on the weekend, but the week before they took on the Crows and went down on by 3 goals, but you can't really be disgraced losing to Adelaide at home, particularly for the Lions' sake when they probably should have won. They had a lot of chances, especially in the third, but the Crows just took their chance a little bit more and certainly wanted to win that game a whole lot more in that last. Brisbane, they're not the greatest side of the MCG. I think we all know that. They got rid of their MCG woes last year in the finals against the D's. Hawthorn normally match up quite well against the Lions. They're in some decent form. I think they can really take it up to them in a high-scoring affair. But you got to go the safe tip here. The Lions, they're playing really well at the moment. I think they're going to get a win here against the Hawks in a decent game of footy. I think we can see a high-scoring contest where the Lions get out winners by 20 points. My big call, there are 205 or more points combined. The next game on the Saturday, we've got Adelaide taking on West Coast at the Adelaide Oval. This game spells danger signs for the Eagles. I'm telling you what, this could get really ugly if the Eagles aren't careful. I mean, that's sort of the case for every game they play, but particularly here, Adelaide are an unstoppable force at the Adelaide Oval. Obviously, losing to the Suns on the weekend. A weird game for the Crows. It was a mixed bag performance because they started like a house on fire with a 35-point lead early in the second. The Suns then kicked the next 10 goals before I think Adelaide kicked the next 4, and the Suns just finished the game on top. A weird game. I didn't get to watch it. Listened to it on the radio. It was crazy. Shocking first and last quarter, but the middle patch of the game for the Eagles, they were actually pretty competitive and they almost got within the Pies. I think at one stage it might have been 14 points. So not the worst performance from West Coast against Collingwood, who are the best side in the competition. Adelaide are one of the best sides when they play at home. Completely different side at home. I think this can be a really, really big win from Adelaide, and I think they're going to score a lot. Could be the highest score of the year, possibly. You never know. But in this one, I'm going to go big and predict the Crows to win this game by 115 points. with my big call, Josh Rochelle and Isaac Rankin combined for 8 or more goals. And the last game on the Saturday at Optus Stadium, 7:25 p.m, we've got Fremantle taking on Richmond. Another game which could be pretty good, you never know. The Dockers are on a roll at the moment, 4 games in a row where they've won, had the bye on the weekend, but they're looking great. In my Power Rankings video, I actually had them 5th. The system seems to be working for Freo because, you know, they're able to score more and their ability to defend, particularly transition, has been a lot better as well. Richmond, on the other hand, well, they got a good win against the Giants. They've actually been in some okay form, I'd like to say, because 2 losses that they've had could have been wins. You know, they were close losses, but yeah, a really good win against the Giants. Caught the last 5 minutes. It'll be a tough one for Richmond, but you could give them a chance in this one because I think it's going to be wet. Freo notoriously aren't the greatest side in the wet conditions, but it's at Optus Stadium, and with the form that they've been in, they probably should get the win. But I consider this being an entertaining game of footy, possibly high scoring if it's not too wet, but if so, should be a close game. But I'm going to go the Dockers to get the job done, probably in a big last quarter by 21. A big call, there are 8 or more behinds recorded than goals. This is one of the best rounds of the season. The games just keep on getting better. Maybe not this one, although it could be a good one at 3:20 p.m. at Blundstone. We've got North take on the Giants. Now, even though it's North v the Giants, not the most appealing fixture, this could be a really good game as well. I think it could be a very close contest. You got North, who haven't won a game since round 2, but in a way doesn't feel like that's the case because they've been playing good enough footy to at least be on 3 wins at the moment. We're very unlucky against Essendon. I really like the way they went about it. They just kept on playing attacking footy through the corridor. And whilst the Bombers seem to also respond as well through the corridor with goals, the North just didn't give up and they just kept on fighting until the final siren. The Giants, on the other hand, well, they kept on. It was the same for the Giants. 2 6-point losses from either side. They kept on fighting till the final siren, but a poor start probably cost them that game. They're the favourites because they're the better side, but it's at Blundstone. North, I think they're okay in Tassie. I think they're okay in Tassie, and they're always half a chance in Tassie, but certainly against the Giants, I think they're more than half a chance. I think they can certainly pinch this one. They're building for a win. Haven't tipped North Melbourne in ages. I'm going to tip them this one because I really do think they can get the win. I'm liking what they've been doing as of late, and I think they're going to win this game by 10 points. I think it's going to be a pretty close game, to be honest with you, which means that I'll go my big call to be that the biggest lead is no more than 16 points. Next game, we've got Carlton taking on Essendon at the MCG, the Sunday night before the big freeze game on the Monday, and I'm hoping this is a cracker because I'll be at it, and I think it will be. 2 sides relatively even heading into this one. Certainly the Bombers at the moment are on better form, but Carlton, you know, the weeks keep on coming and they just sort of need to find a win. The results just haven't been able to find their way because they've just been really appalling. Yeah, another really terrible game against Melbourne. They didn't look anything like their best, only scoring 44, which is a concern when they've got, you know, 2 reigning Coleman medalists. Their lack of scoring in the last month has been extremely concerning, and I'm hoping that can maybe change things around in this game. Carlton at the moment, it's hard to win games when you're playing slow, defensive, reactive footy, and then when you go inside 50, you just don't look for the target and you just bomb it. Of course, it's going to come back down the other way. That's what happened against Melbourne. Lever and May were having a field day. Essendon, they picked up a win against North Melbourne. It wasn't really the most convincing win. There were certainly a few problems of the way that they played Essendon. It was just a bit too easy. It looked at times it looked way too easy for North Melbourne to go from one end of the ground to the other. Especially when they had that run on goals in the second or third it was, where they kicked 5 in a row. But they got the win. They escaped a bullet, but certainly not a result where I've got too much faith in the Bombers. I think this is going to be a close game of footy because I think certainly these 2 sides can match up quite evenly. Carlton need to find a win. Essendon, they've got the wins, and this win will probably give them a very good shot at the 8 if they can get it done. I will tip the Bombers because it's probably the safer call, and they've been playing obviously better footy than Carlton at the moment, so I think I can trust them a little bit more, but it's a very even game when you look at the odds, but Essendon for mine are going to win it by 2 points. My big call though, the Blues lead for 70% or more of the game. And last but not least, at the MCG, possibly the biggest game of the round, probably is the big freeze clash, Melbourne v Collingwood. Quickly before we get into this one, I really want to go to the game. I forgot the tickets were sold out, and possibly would like to film a vlog or just some sort of content at the game. So if there's anyone out there watching this that possibly has a spare ticket or 2, preferably 2, hit me up on my Instagram or my email. I'll chuck it up here. Yeah, I'd be willing to pay whatever you're offering because certainly a game I don't want to miss out on for sure. And I think this is going to be a good one. So if you got a ticket, just like the Anzac Day, I thought I'd ask. I'm sure there'll be some people willing to offer tickets. Yeah, it'd be good if I can get to this game. But it's going to be a really good contest, certainly. Obviously, Collingwood are just flying right now at the moment with now 7, 8 wins in a row. I think 8 now. Had another good win against West Coast. Yeah, can't really say too much about that game. you know, that they actually look like they possibly were going to lose at one stage in the third, but a really strong last quarter set them up for a 10-plus goal win. And Melbourne, I think they're far from their best, but it's not too much of a worry for them because it's the middle of the season. You can afford to have a little bit of a mid-season slump. You'd rather be not at your best now than at the end of the year. But I think Melbourne, they will live for this big occasion. They haven't been in the best of form, but I think they're going to really save their energy for this game. And with Clayton Oliver back as well, that's going to be big in. And De Goey's also out for Collingwood through that suspension. So a couple of key ins and outs could play a factor in this game, I really do think. Because it's a big freeze game, I think it's going to be a close one. We don't normally get close big freeze games, but I just think this game is going to be a really tight one. Collingwood always match up pretty well against Melbourne, so it's tough fun. Collingwood have to lose eventually, you would think, but is it Melbourne that'll pick them? I'm not sure. My big call, well, my tip, I should say, is I'm going to go the Pies. I'm going the Pies to win it by 4. And my big call in this one, that Mason Cox kicks a clutch final quarter goal. Alrighty, well, those are my round 13 tips. The buys for this week are the Cats and the Suns. Kind of weird. I'm not sure why the two sides only have the buys. It should be more than that if they're having the buy rounds. So I only have it 3. Well, why are there 4 buy rounds? I'm not a fan of that, but we'll quickly review my tips. I went the Swans. I went against the Saints by 14. Put Adelaide, Brisbane, Adelaide, obviously, Fremantle, Northern an upset, Essendon, and the Pies. So very difficult round to predict, in my opinion. I'm not expecting a very high score, but at the same time, with how I went last week, anything could happen. Now, obviously, I did mention that there is a tipping competition prize winner, and the prize for the person on top of the competition mid-season will win $50. All right, well, firstly, we'll go through round 12, and we've got a few people all tipping 7. We had 28, so I won't go through all of them, but we had Gabe Gamer, who... This isn't the only... Yeah, he got a 9 in round 4. So again, on top with a score of 7 with a margin of 1. J Hop second. Go Tom AFL. Congratulations. Also tipping 7 with 3. Anyone else notable that also tipped a score of 7 that I know of through the username? Not that I know of, but if you did get a perfect score of 7, let me know through Instagram DMs and I'll give you maybe a mini shout out. But here we go, the moment of truth. Who is on top of the round 12 tipping competition? Who gets the $50 prize? And it is Kev's Magpies. Kev has done it. He's actually remained on top after round 12, which means he's getting the $50 prize. Kev, you'll be watching this video, so hit me up, brother. You're winning the $50. Everyone in the comments, congratulate Kev, because that is not an easy feat against 1,285 other players. But yeah, Kev on top of the tipping round after round 12. I'm 446th. Pissed off about not getting the tip for last round, but we move on. And well done to all the other people in and amongst it as well, because the big prize will be at the end of the season after finals. But anyways, those are my tips for round 13. As usual, you put your comment down below for the punishments. I'm going to have it only where I need 2, because the buy round as well. So yeah, anyways, and don't like Geordie's comment as well. He keeps getting the most likes. It's kind of annoying. But anyways, aside from that, I hope you enjoyed the video. There's a lot more content coming your way throughout the week. Obviously going to Sydney. And go and follow the TikTok as well. The TikTok will be up on screen and the Insta. But the TikTok, I'm getting more posts out on the TikTok. So I want to try and grow that throughout the season as well. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed the video. We'll see you very soon in my next one.